Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, I thought I'd kind of give you a bit of a review of the WWE Network special, The Beast in the East. It's basically the first live broadcast special that WWE Network did, or has done, that actually requires you, if you felt like it, to wake up or stay up till 2:30, wake up or stay up till 2:30 in the morning and beyond it for about 2.5 hours. It was basically treated like a pay-per-view, except this was more of the fact that it was a network exclusive. It wasn't a pay-per-view. And the reason that is said is because of the fact that it wasn't pay-per-view. It wasn't basically of a pay-per-view quality in a sense. I mean, if it was of pay-per-view quality, things might be a little bit different, stage settings and all that, but it wasn't. The only reason for this is due to the fact that Brock Lesnar was going to be on the card, and he was going there, from what we understand, due to some personal reasons. I guess he had a friend going there. I think it was Brad Riggins and a few other personal things he wanted to do. And yeah, that's basically why he was booked on the show. It was also a fact to kind of give us a glimpse as to what he could do against somebody the caliber of a Kofi Kingston, basically someone of the same level, if you will, the same stature and speed, if you will, of a Seth Rollins. Now, I don't think what he did to Kofi on the show is going to be exactly what he does to Seth. But we'll have to wait and see. Overall, it was all right. I think what's funny is they scratched out the New Day Lucha Dragons match from the card. And I mean, I'm not sure if they'll add it maybe later on in the on-demand replay or not, but they scratched it out. It was basically like, and we don't need the tag match, whatever. It's like, okay, then why'd you advertise it? But they did briefly mention it on the show that New Day did compete in the match before they were on the air. And that was one thing I noticed about this network special, is they allowed, I think, a little bit more leeway with Michael Cole and Byron Saxton. You know, they allowed them to talk about things that normally you wouldn't hear WWE talk about. So I think because it was a network special, it was in Japan, and it was sort of, to me, it was sort of like a testing ground to see how fans would react to watching televised broadcast of live WWE events, not just a Raw or SmackDown or NXT or anything like that, but mostly something along the lines of a house show, how they would feel about watching a live broadcast of a house show. And I think fans honestly took to it very well. I think they liked that concept, because you could kind of tell that it was being treated as such. I mean, everybody knew it was a live event. It was a special and all that. It was called Beast in the East. But it was sort of being, basically, I looked at Beast in the East as sort of being treated as a hybrid of a pay-per-view and a live event. Basically, it was a special event. It was, it had some good matches on it. But it also was it was a live event, basically. It wasn't anything else. It was just, I mean, you take away the Beast in the East moniker and all that, and it was basically just a regular live event. That's basically what it was. But because of the significance of not just Brock being there, but because of the fact that they were hyping up the NXT Championship match, gave it significant reason, in my opinion, to be a hybrid of a pay-per-view and a live event. Because, like I said, Ed, you kind of get that vibe, especially with the fact that some of the men and women there, and there were only 3 divas as far as I know for this one, were able to do a little bit more than they could on average in a televised environment, if you will. So you can, like I said, you kind of see a little bit of that hybrid there. They were doing a little bit more. They were given more time, if you will, during the event. So what did I think about it? Well, first of all, match quality wise, I thought it was good. Even the Divas match, for as short as it was good. So overall, it was a decent show. I mean, you could tell that the Divas can do just a little bit more when they're not restricted when it comes to a live event. And like I said, that's what goes back to the hybrid deal. So you kind of see that. As far as the match goes itself, I thought, when as far as the event goes itself, like I said, top to bottom, I thought it was solid. I thought it was alright. I know some people might question that, but I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. The opening match between Jericho and Neville was really good. I like how, like I said, they were allowing the commentators, Michael Cole and Byron Saxton, to really cut loose a little bit and talk about things normally you wouldn't hear them talk about, like Jericho starting out in FMW, the Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling Organization, where he adapted the name Lionheart. I like how they had Michael Cole mention that Neville got his start with the Japanese version of Dragon Gate. He didn't specifically say United States. You know, he just said the Japanese promotion of Dragon Gate. That's all he said. So I like how he kind of referenced Dragon Gate, but he didn't specifically say, you know, the promotion Dragon Gate. He said Japan, the Japanese promotion. So basically saying, yeah, Dragon Gate exists, but he doesn't want them to know. But basically he kind of played it to where he's saying, for anybody that's new, that, oh, Dragon Gate's here in Japan, not in the States. So I like how that was referenced there, and it was good. I like that they allowed the announcers to, the commentating team, to cut loose a little bit and say things they wouldn't normally say. Jericho and Neville was a good opener, definitely good. Obviously Jericho can still go, as everybody pretty much knows. And Jericho went over in this one. And he went over by submission by applying the Lion Tamer. It basically came off the result that Neville had missed the red L, was going for the red L a third time, and this time was finally able to perform the move, but he was met with the knees by Chris Jericho, and Jericho was able to lock him into the Lion Tamer for the win. During the match, there was also a spot where I think Neville springboard off the ropes and right into a Chris Jericho. It was almost like a sequence a little bit, but you know, Neville springboarded into off the rope into a code breaker. So that was a nice spot. But in the end, like I said, Jericho went over with the Lion Tamer. I know some people might say, well, they should have put Neville over, but you got to remember, Jericho's kind of on that rare appearance kind of like schedule. So, you know, and especially with his history in Japan, more so than Neville's, I think the right decision was made there to at least say, hey, we're still behind Chris, and if we have to, maybe we'll try to get him back down the line. Like I said, the Divas triple threat match was pretty good. Tamina definitely, I mean, I like how WWE showcased Tamina here, basically showing that she's a powerhouse in the Divas division and could be a viable threat to the championship, and if she ever became champion, could be a very dominant one. It was okay for, like I said, the short time it got. And in the end, of course, Nikki did retain. Tamina went for a Superfly splash and missed, and Nikki ended up hitting her forearm to get the win. What was interesting about this is they mentioned that Nikki is, I guess she's got a goal. I don't know if it's a hashtag or something like that. It's hashtag Road to 300. And basically what it is that she wants to become and basically they mentioned here that her goal is to surpass AJ Lee, which is like at the 292, I think, as the longest reigning champion, and her goal is to be reigning as champion for 300 days. And when I hear something like that, I look and I think, Are they saying that when she probably hits her 300th day, if they go that route, if they decide to go that route, that that's the day not only will she lose the belt, but she's going to leave WWE with her sister? Is that what they're saying? Who knows? But yeah, that's basically what the hashtag is, Road to 300. And again, Nikki does retain the title, so there was that. And then to follow that, we had Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston. And basically Brock, of course, as you would expect, dominated. They allowed Kofi to get some offense in, but it was like, basically like, it was like a fly. The way they made it look like was a fly was bouncing off Brock Lesnar. I mean, like I said, Kofi got one big spot of offense in, but then everything else felt like a fly bouncing off of Brock's back, and Brock just dominated this entire match and won with the F5. And then he went back in, did another German suplex, did another F5. New Day came in. Xavier Woods, he got clothesline, he got F5. Same with Big E, he got F5. Basically, New Day was brought in. Kofi, and then along with New Day, was basically brought in to face Brock and kind of showcase what Brock is capable of, even against numerous obstacles. You know, basically showcasing that, yeah, you know, the Authority may have gotten one over on Brock 2 weeks ago, but guess what? Brock can come back and do this no matter who it is. So basically, it was to show that Brock can be dominated against a number of people by himself. So yeah, it was basically to showcase that someone like Brock could take down someone like a Seth Rollins almost with ease. That no matter what Seth might do, it's not going to really affect Brock. They pretty much should have just said, oh, by the way, see this, they should have just put a counter down the corner and saying, oh, by the way, this is how many more days Seth has as champion, and then it's going to Brock, and then it's going to Brock, and then basically it's going to go to Sheamus. So, get the idea right there. Then after that, we had the NXT Championship match. And this is definitely a candidate for Match of the Year. And, you know, it definitely shows that they're trying to push Kevin Owens as a big deal here, along with Finn Balor. Both brought their A game to this. This was basically a great match, and like I say, a Match of the Year candidate. Back and forth action. Both men tried to go for like signature moves and stuff to win the match. Could not put the other away. And in the end, Finn Balor was able to finally capitalize on a mistake by Kevin Owens, and was able to hit him with a massive drop kick right in the corner. You could tell Kevin hit hard on that. And then Flynn went up and hit for the third or second time his coup de grace finisher, and Flynn, and what like I said, is a Match of the Year candidate, walks out as the new NXT champion. And Kevin Owens, of course, not too happy about that. Didn't want to shake the hand. I mean, in fact, when they did the traditional championship ceremony, that's done in Japan with the streamers and the presenting of the flowers and all that, Kevin just took the flowers he got and threw them, this way. And basically they just emphasized that Kevin Owens never really liked to go to Japan. He didn't want to go back there, period. And that he was forced there by WWE management and mostly the Authority. And it kind of gives you the idea that what they're going to do with Kevin is make him a heel anti-authority figure. Someone that will do what he says, but he'll do it reluctantly. It's like if he had his way, he wouldn't do it, but if he's got to do it, he'll do it. So, yeah, I see him being a heelish anti-authority figure. I almost see him in the same vein as a Bad News Brown. Remember when Bad News Brown was brought in, formerly Bad News Allen, he was a loner. He didn't want to associate with anybody. He didn't want to be with anybody. And him, like I say, being on his own, I mean, you've seen it in some of the classic Survivor Series matches from '88 to '89. You know, he was never really a team player. It was mostly a heel's heel. It's like, it didn't matter who he fought. He just hated everybody. You know, he just wanted to be left alone. And I see Kevin Owens sort of going in that same path down the line. So that's what I see happening. But again, just a great match of the year candidate here. And Finn Balor does become the champion. And it looks like they're going to be building towards him and Hideo Itami at the next NXT TakeOver event. Maybe him and Joe and Itami in a triple threat. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. And then after that, we had John Cena and Dolph Ziggler against Kane and King Barrett. And this was a decent tag match to close out the show. Had some good storyline elements a little bit, kind of like dramatic elements that you have to have in a match to make it more believable. But in the end, of course, John Cena ends up winning it for his team. Nice little bit of a sequence between both him and Ziggler that kind of shows you that if WWE wanted to put these two together as a tag team and have them go after the tag titles, they could do that. With Ziggler doing a super kick and onto the opponent, and then the opponent walking right into the attitude adjustment. So overall, though, decent show for Beast in the East. And if you haven't seen it yet, I do recommend watching the on-demand replay. You will like it. You will. The only problem I will say about this is the match structure. I will criticize that. Is the match card structure. If I was WWE, I would have put Brock and the NXT title as the second to last matches. I would have. I would have put Cena, Ziggler against Kane and Barrett in the middle, right after the Divas match. Then I would have put Brock right before the main event. That's what I would have done. I would have put Brock's match against Kofi right before the main event, and then I would have closed out the show with Finn Balor and Kevin Owens for the NXT title. That's what I would have done. But that's just me. Then again, that's just me, and that's just my opinion on it. But yeah, that's what I would have done if I was WWE, but with the match card structure. But overall, decent show, and I do highly recommend you guys checking it out. And that's all I gotta say, and peace out, God bless. I'm gonna get ready for work.